Alright, part 2 of the very first episode of the Cross Examiner, and I am on the third question about to ask Dave, and this is kind of a long one, but an interesting one. During the course of the year, of this year, already, I've noticed a disturbing trend of video games seemingly stealing ideas from other games. Now, some of these you might not know about because you haven't played them, but I'll explain them, and just so everyone knows, you know, spoiler alert here, if you don't want to know, they're not big ones, but, you know, I don't want to get boned for that. So anyway, such as, in Killzone 3, they 100% ripped off from the Goliath of Resistance 2. I mean, the design of the thing was 100% exactly the same. Like, it looked like they stole Insomniac's design for this thing, alright? And then also in Crysis 2, which I just played, this is a big spoiler. I know Dave doesn't care. One of the main characters in the game, his name is Hargreave. You actually get to the end of the game and you find out who he is, and it is a complete 100% ripoff of the character of Mr. House from Fallout New Vegas. And it's 100% ripoff of him.
How is it ripoff?
Well, I don't want to tell you because you're going to play Fallout.
Yeah,
but basically when you find out who Mr. House is in New Vegas and you find out who Hargreave is, it's like the exact same setup, and it's basically bullshit. So my question to you is how do you feel about game developers and them seemingly stealing ideas from other game companies and implementing them into their own games? You know, do you think that they're really stealing the other ones, or do you think it's a coincidence that you know, these designs are so close and these plot elements and things are so close?
Well, I actually want to throw in one more example. I was showing you Dante's Inferno.
Oh yeah.
How close.
Complete ripoff of God of War.
Unbelievably close that is to God of War. But I can perfectly base off of that. Even if Dante's Inferno is a perfect ripoff of God of War, it's still a lot of fun. And I think they just got the idea, they worked off of the basic premise of Controls of God of War, but still made their own game. Now, for your games, with Crysis and Fallout,
and don't forget the Goliath ripoff.
Right.
That's a big one.
I mean,
that one pissed me off.
I think there's a fine, not a very fine line between like using it, like referencing it and making something cool out of it, and just copying. I don't think it's right to complete copy it off, and I think if you copy it but make your own original twist to it, then it's okay. Like how Dante's Inferno kind of copied God of War, but it put its own little twist to it. And if what you're saying about Mr. House from Fallout and the guy from Crysis 2 being exactly the same, I don't think that's right. And I think gaming companies need to...
Do you think that that's what they're doing? Do you think they're actually, you know,
they
taking these ideas?
They could be
taking how simpler these things are.
They could be seeing the success of the higher, like Insomniac, like the Goliath, copying Insomniac, such a big company, and copying. They certainly could be.
Yeah.
Just copying high.
So you think it's just a result of these game developers just being lazy?
Maybe.
And just not wanting to put in the effort.
Seeing what works.
You know, to make their own thing.
Seeing what people liked and what worked and taking it off of that.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Fair enough.
That one was kind of rough for me.
Yeah, it was tough since you haven't played those two, but I wanted to get your opinion.
Sure. Okay. Well, these make my questions look really simple, but
first video.
Okay. Well, I meant this. I didn't know how to word this, but how has your interest in different gaming genres changed over the years? And what I mean is,
I really like that question.
That was my final question of like, from like starting out from what type of genre, jumping into what, and like, you know.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, you know, I didn't really hardcore get into games until I got a PS3. So, you know, I'm kind of an oddity because, you know, I'm one of those hardcore gamers now who wasn't when they were little kids. You know, everybody I talked to was like, well, you know, I played all these games back then, and you know, all this stuff, and I'm just like, I didn't, you know, but you know, I started out with like the basic games. Like N64 is the first one I really picked up and started playing games, but I didn't play like hardcore games. You know what I mean? I played like Mario Kart. I played Mario Party on it. I tried my hand at like Banjo-Kazooie and stuff like that.
Not like the Zeldas. And
no, see, yeah, I didn't play any of those games, and because I just didn't used to be into those games. But
Neither did I.
You know, the PS2 came out, and you know, again, I played a few games. I had a Dreamcast. I played some games on there, but really nothing hardcore. When I got the PS3, I got introduced to the first-person shooter. Actually, my PlayStation came with Metal Gear Solid 4. That was what they were pushing at the time, and I put the game in and tried to play it, and I was like, man, I don't like this game. Like, you know, I don't like playing this type of game. So I went and traded it in, actually. I got a bunch of money because it was actually brand new at the time, and picked up Resistance 1. And that was my real first FPS shooter, and I said, oh my, you know, I love this game. I love the plot of it, and I love the genre of first-person shooter, and that's kind of when I started playing. And then, you know, after making friends with you and Tyler, after getting the system and seeing the different kind of games you played, I picked up a few different ones. Like, I've always played the Madden series.
Yeah.
For one, I've always been into that. That's kind of my bread and butter, is the Madden series. And then the first-person shooters came along, and then, you know, RPGs started popping up, like Fallout and Oblivion. And now, you know, for the first time this year with the YouTube channel and everything, now I want to open it up to, hey, I want to play, you know, almost every major release I can this year. So it, you know,
regardless
really,
of genre.
right, you know, so in it, you know, and then I got into like the hack and slash with God of War. I used to have an old Lord of the Rings game on PS2. I used to
have
play.
that game. That was really cool.
And then, you know, very recently with the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 fighting game. So yeah, it's really kind of amazing. It's evolved over just the past, like, you know, 3 years. Now I'm to a point where I'm playing basically everything I can play in really every genre. So
very good answer. That's what you've told me the story before, but it's a very good answer.
All right.
I'd say my first shooter was Resistance 1 too, because I can't count Ratchet and Clank as shooter.
The only real game that PS3 had when it released.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything else was complete shit. Alright, I've got 2 more for you, Dave.
Alright.
The first one should be a pretty simple one.
Okay.
What's your favorite game franchise of all time and why?
Oh, God. See, I have to take you back to the PS1 days. My favorite genre... See, that's so hard for me, because I have my like top 4. I'll give you my top 4, and then I'll just choose my favorite. Would have to be Crash Bandicoot, Spyro Dragon, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank.
So platformers.
All made by Naughty Dog and Insomniac, because that's what it was out at the time. That's what was big at the time. But I'd have to say my favorite game of all time is Crash Bandicoot, because
why? Why does that one win?
Because it's the first, when I bought a PS1, and I was like 5 or 6 years old when I had one. The demo that came with it had a Power Rangers game, had a Powerpuff Girl game, and had Crash Bandicoot. And
was it Powerpuff Girls that didn't win you over?
No.
What the hell?
I like the Power Ranger game though, and Crash Bandicoot, something just got me about it, and I've literally bought the game. My parents bought it like 9 times, literally, because I sucked at taking care of games, and I'd never put it back in the case, and I'd always drop it and crack it. And remember, I got 100% when I was like 7 years old. That's the running joke.
Yeah, that's something he's been lording over us.
And I got it again last semester with them at their dorm, but that's just always been my series. And Crash 2 came out, and I played that forever. Crash 3, Crash Racing, God, sleepless nights playing Crash Racing. That was one of my favorite games. And then, Spyro, another huge favorite of mine. And then Crash jumped to Jak and Daxter, and Spyro jumped to Ratchet and Clank, and I just kept with them. I still play Spyro and Crash for once in a while, so it'd have to be Crash Bandicoot.
Alright, I like it.
I'll throw Kingdom Hearts in there too, because I love Kingdom Hearts.
Do you have one more for me, or what?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do a quick time check. We've got 2 overall questions left.
2 for each person, or for one for
One for each person.
Oh. Damn, that was quick.
I don't know. Let's just go, see what we can do.
That was quick. Oh, mine's... let's see. Okay, well, I don't like this as a final question, but... If you ask your question, I'm going to think about the 6th question that I wrote while...
Okay.
It's right there. I'm trying to You can see it. I'm just trying to think of how to word it.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I will ask you the last question.
Okay.
What do you think of the push out of these new motion controls for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360? And do you feel that Microsoft and Sony are kind of screwing over the hardcore gamer in favor of trying to recruit a more casual audience to their game systems?
I think that I firmly agree with you. I think that they've seen the Wii's success and they're trying to get a piece of pie of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the success of Kinect or Move, but I know Kinect sold really well. But I haven't seen that many great games to back up this technology.
Exactly.
Like I've watched E3, like the innovative Move, and I haven't seen that many cool games.
Yeah.
Besides like the Heroes on the Move thing, I don't even know.
Which sucked, by the way.
Really?
The game was awful. It was a game completely based off of 5 mini games.
No way.
Yeah, that was the entire game. They had all the characters in it, and I watched the ESP's playthrough. The entire game is nothing but 5 mini games.
No way.
Over and over.
That's so sad.
Yep, and that's a game that they were trying to sell the Move.
I was
with.
excited about it.
Of course, and they didn't even release the game until months after the Move anyway.
But yeah, I think they're trying to just captivate off of the Wii's success. But while you were mentioning motion controls, I was thinking about yesterday how, like 10 years ago, they didn't think about motion control gaming. And I'm thinking 10 years from now and 20 years from now, how far gaming will go, and to a point where we're just putting on helmets and we're there.
And adding to that, what's the line between what's going to be for casual gamers and what's going to be for hardcore gamers? Because you see now with
like the 3DS,
the Move,
like Wii and the DS, just now moms are gaming, now girls are gaming. It's not just guys anymore.
Oh yeah, no, it's a huge market for really everybody now, and but it's interesting because you associate the motion controls with the Wii and such for casual gamers,
Sure.
but now PS3 is trying to sell the Move with Killzone 3. They're trying to integrate the Move and the hard and I don't know anybody who played Killzone 3 with the Move. Everybody, the hardcore gamers.
I can't imagine it'd be that fun.
They
Just
want
to be like,
the gamepad. So if you can't think of a last question, I can provide my answer for that.
To what?
To the question I just asked you. It's about the motion controls.
I have my question. I'm just trying to.
Let me do a quick time check.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're probably going to have to cut it here and give you some time to think, and then we'll come back and wrap up the first episode of The Cross Examiner.